On this episode, a bounty of beverages. We're pouring out the juicy details to give you a tall drink of California Bountiful. And it all starts now. Hello and welcome to California Bountiful. I'm your host, Aubrey Aquino. Right now we are just minutes from downtown San Luis Obispo, and today we're going to learn about a pioneer in winemaking. In fact, they were the first to plant vineyards right here in the Edna Valley. Known for their Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, a true jewel along the central California coast.
We are a winery located on the Central Coast in California. We are located in the San Luis Obispo Coast AVA, and AVA stands for American Viticulture Area. The whole AVA is about 60 miles long. It starts from Monterey County line all the way down to Santa Maria, and it's about 15 miles inland. There's about 30 wineries or so located within the AVA. Most of the vineyards within this AVA are about 6 miles or less from the coast, and so where we sit here, we're about 5 miles. And that's really important. It really dictates the style of wines that we make here.
On the heels of their 50th anniversary and appointment of the winery's first female head winemaker, Chamisal is living the California dream.
The cold climate here is really drives the style of wines throughout the entire region. So you think a lot more minerality, a lot more salinity in the wines, a lot more bright acidity. So we end up producing very fresh, vibrant wines that I think are just really, food friendly, and they attract kind of a large array of consumers.
And at the center of innovation here is vintner Brianne Engels.
I love how dynamic being a winemaker is. You're a farmer. There's a creative, artistic aspect to it. There's components where I often relate to it like being a chef. That comes in with the blending decisions. So you're tasting different lots and putting it all together. And no 2 days are the same. One day you're hosting a wine club dinner, and then the next day you're out with the pruning team, and it keeps me on my toes. And so my goal is to make sure the farming's done correctly, so that once we harvest the fruit, we're more like guides, guiding the wine to kind of its finished point before bottling.
Trailblazers in sustainability, those practices are the core philosophy for life in Chamisal's ecosystem.
Starting in the vineyard itself, that means we employ organic and regenerative farming practices, and that means herbicide-free. We do a lot of compost teas to really increase our soil microbiology and also soil organic matter. So in my mind, healthy soil means healthy vines. We're really working on enhancing our biodiversity, and so that comes with cover crops in the vineyard. We're also planting kind of areas within the property that are maybe not conducive to great wine growing, and we're using that land for mini forests and for insectaries and hedgerows. Right now we've got sheep grazing through the vineyard. That also aids in our sustainability practices. They're natural mowers, so they save us on a mowing pass, and they're also fertilizing the soil as they move throughout the property. In 2021, we planted a mini forest, which is called a Miyawaki forest, which speaks to the way it was planted, which is a very kind of close proximity, different heights of native species, all within like kind of a very small footprint. So the whole idea around this mini forest was to increase our biodiversity and restore kind of native habitat, in addition to providing a carbon sink.
Following my tour of the grounds, it was only right to toast and get a taste of their accomplishments.
Being so close to the ocean, we get a lot of that maritime influence, a lot of that wind and fog, and it really it elongates our growing season. So we're able to slowly ripen cool climate varieties like Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, which is what we specialize here. People know San Luis Obispo maybe for the university, but a lot of people don't know about this region. And I I hope that's going to change because we have a lot to offer and it's beautiful. And there's a little bit, you know, you can go for a hike and then you can go wine tasting and then go to the beach all in one day.
At Astrid, we pride ourselves on hyper-seasonal ingredients. There's 80,000 species of flowering plants that are in the Astrid family, from potatoes to mint to sunflowers, sesame seeds. All of that is in the Astrid family, and we pride ourselves on working with small producers, getting high-quality ingredients, smaller items that people may not, know about or aren't familiar with. But then using some familiar ingredients to introduce people to some unfamiliar ingredients as well. We're gonna be making Martini One. This is a gin-based martini. It's gonna get a little bit of saline. Saline is just salt water, basically. I think salt makes everything better. There's gonna be 3/4 of an ounce of a vermouth blend. In this vermouth blend is a Dolin Blanc, which is a bit sweeter, Dolin Dry, which is a dry vermouth, and Izaguirre Reserva, which is a Spanish vermouth that gets aged, so it's got a little bit of complexity, a little oak to it. And then we're adding a little bit of Meyer lemon tincture, which is vodka that we are infusing for a long time with Meyer lemon peels to kind of extract all those like florality notes of the bitter Meyer lemon. And then we are doing 2 ounces of beefeater. London Dry Gin. This one gets a stir. Just to add a little bit of dilution, cool it down a little bit. Dehydrated lemon is the garnish. Martini One.
Still to come, a juice cleanse for the mind, body, and soul.
You're gonna have some nice sweet flavors, followed by some really nice earthy flavors as well too.
Cheers.
So cheers to life.
But first, wine that's perched for success.
My wines don't have any new oak on them, and they're a little bit more subtle, so you get this, very, very sort of like perfumed nose.
California Bountiful is brought to you by the California Farm Bureau.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Bigger than ever, California Bountiful Magazine's special edition is coming out on October 1st, jam-packed with 64 pages of holiday inspiration, from gift ideas to mouth-watering recipes, plus insights from California farmers, gardening tips, and more. For just $9.99, get a 1-year subscription, or save 25% on a 2-year subscription, and get exclusive access to both print and digital content. Visit CaliforniaBountiful.com to subscribe today.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
When it comes to wine, there are so many options, all kinds of producers, and many different varieties. Well, here at Lodi Crush, they're exclusively helping these small producers roll out all kinds of their own brands and different kinds of wine.
get the ball rolling. It was always a dream of mine to start my own small brand. I knew I always wanted to make wine on a small scale, and so it was just a perfect opportunity. Time on your hands, and nothing. No time like the present, as they say.
Adam Sake is a Sacramento native who fell in love with food and wine in his early 20s, then spent the next 2 decades working in the industry before setting out to bottle his passion for it.
So I started making 2 red wines in the very beginning, so Syrah and Zinfandel. And those are Amador County wines. Just because you make one variety doesn't mean that you're always gonna make that same variety from that same vineyard. You might make that variety and then the vineyard might change or the appellation might change, and then you're getting to know that place all over again.
Initially working out of a West Sac winery using grapes from Amador Valley, he's now winemaking at Lodi Crush, where they cater to artisan producers with smaller batches.
When I was looking for a place to move and to grow and to make my wines, multiple people actually mentioned Gerardo's name. I'm able to come in here and have some autonomy and be able to make my wines and be able to kind of do things in the way that I want to do them with my vision.
So a lot of our clients are small producers. What that means is they already either have a style that they want, a wine that they want to make, or they already had been producing wine at other facilities. It is a kind of a unique niche because there's a lot of small producers out there that they don't have the resources to buy all the equipment at once. So we are like a hub for them to come and utilize our equipment. So we have our equipment receiving the fruit all the way to crushing, destemming, pressing, and tank spaces for them to produce their wines. Majority of these wines or winemakers are boutique winemakers. Some of them have their own vineyards, they're farmers, and they want to make their own wine. And some of them are, they just wine entities that they just want to make their wines. We have clients from up in the hills, Southern California, and we even have some clients in the East Coast that we make the wines here for them.
And not only does Lodi Crush help with production, they also have a room dedicated to those wines, where wine lovers can get a taste.
And the idea was to create a space also not just for them to make their wine, but then also showcase their wines to the public, to their customers.
It's the perfect setup to perch products.
Trying to do something that we love, and the support from the public is paramount in order for us to be able to continue to build and grow our small businesses and be able to practice our craft. We just want to make our wine, we just want to make wine and have a little bit of financial freedom to do that, and to just have our wines be enjoyed and be able to live our lives. Let's drink a little Old Vine Zinfandel here. So this is, and when we say Old Vine, we're talking about over 50 years old in terms of the age of the vineyard. So 100-year-old vines on this wine. From Shenandoah Valley in Amador County, Fox Creek Vineyard.
Okay.
So, well, first of all, let's cheers here, huh?
Cheers.
Yeah. Yep, and then when you taste the wine, I think the first thing you notice when you taste these wines is you're gonna notice the acidity. So there's some beautiful acid to the wine. It makes your mouth salivate and kind of makes you want to go back in for another sip, just like you did. That's why I love Zinfandel, because when you pour it for somebody, and it's not in the style that they're used to drinking, it sort of opens their eyes to like the potential experiences that they can have with Zinfandel. Like that it's not just this one thing done this one way. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah.
Just ahead, it's all good to get juiced at this house.
We haven't seen our color yet because we got to add some beets, of course.
And next, it's not your basic booch tender, bottoms up for a biome.
We do not pasteurize our kombucha. It is raw. It has all those natural probiotics that are brought into the kombucha during the fermentation process, so we don't pasteurize it and scoop in probiotics. It's very naturally occurring beverage.
You're watching California Bountiful.
Hey, Brad, You know how Nationwide is more than an insurance company?
Oh, yeah. They're one of America's largest financial services companies.
Could we get that in a song like Business Life Retirement?
Or Nationwide's there to protect.
Maybe leave the songs to me.
But I'm the one with 3 Grammys.
I'm kind of the jingle guy.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Well, I'm not sure I like your hat.
Well, it would never fit on you.
Wow.
California Farm Bureau's all-new podcast, Voice of California Agriculture, is streaming now. Tune in for the latest farm and food news, legislative updates, and more. Listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can also visit cfbf.com to access the podcast links.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Discover more California Bountiful and get social with us. See the stories we're working on and get a peek behind the scenes. Plus, more recipes and fun facts, and join other like-minded foodies and fans of California's bounty. Find, follow, and talk to us at CA Bountiful.
Kombucha is a fermented tea. We literally brew a big batch of tea and we sweeten it, and then we add this culture. It's called a SCOBY. And the culture during the fermentation process eats the sugar, creates these probiotics and good stuff for your gut, B vitamins. And so it's a pretty healthy beverage that tastes really good.
KC Kombucha is a Sacramento original. The beverage first began to brew its own audience through community farmers markets, which led to relationships with local growers and producers.
Originally, we went to Costco and got blueberries, right? Because that's just what you know. And but being at the farmers market and developing these relationships and figuring out, oh, you do sell blueberries in this time of season, so we can get that from you. And then farmers would come up with these different kinds of stone fruit, and so we'd use pluots and apricots, and we just got, it was really fun to use all these different flavors. And then we get basil from a local farm and, you know, process massive bags of basil. It's a really cool thing to be able to utilize fresh produce in our kombucha. And we figured that they had all of this produce that they couldn't sell that was bruised or damaged, and at the end of the farmers market they would give us these boxes of fruit that they were just going to compost. So we used that and we developed flavors that were unique and were special to this area. Once we get fruit from a farmer and bring it and flavor our kombucha with it, we always try to get that flavor, particular flavor, to the that farmers market where we got the produce. And the customers love that idea. We point out, oh, we got it over at Ponce Farms. And then we also bring cans of the kombucha to the farmers too, to say, hey, look, these are your peaches, this is your watermelon. So it's a really fun collaboration. We brew non-alcoholic kombucha, so we keep the alcohol level less than 0.5, and then we flavor it with things that you recognize, so blueberries and watermelon and apples. So you taste that, and ours I think is a little less acidic than those in the store, so I think that's what makes us a little more unique. It's more user-friendly. You can taste the blueberries in there, you can taste the watermelon, the apples, and it's super good for your gut. And I think that people, once they get in and we can get them to try it, they understand that it's not your basic kombucha, it's something different. We do not pasteurize our kombucha. It is raw. It has all those natural probiotics that are brought into the kombucha during the fermentation process, so we don't pasteurize it and scoop in probiotics. It's very naturally occurring beverage.
And once their fan base began to grow, so did their kombucha operations.
We had visited kombucha tap rooms in San Diego, and we knew that we wanted to expand from the farmers markets and events into a space where people could come in and sit at the bar and have a pint of kombucha. And so yeah, when we opened in 2019, we were the very first kombucha tap room, and we're still the only kombucha tap room in Sacramento. We brew everything in-house, so you'll see our kettles back in the back. So we brew everything in-house, and it's flavored here, and then we serve it on tap.
KC Kombucha infuses its fermented drinks with a variety of fresh flavors, suitable for all types of palates.
Because it's healthy, they drink it because it just tastes good, it's a good alternative to soda. They also drink it as a non-alcoholic option, but a lot of these stay the same throughout the year. We have our basic 6 or 7, and then we change based on what's in season, and also we just do fun small batch stuff as well. We can change things up quickly and utilize different things that we find at the farmer's market or out in the forage for things in our backyard we can try. It's kind of a unique aspect where we are so small that we can change things up pretty quickly.
It's a handcrafted, bubbly approach that customers are happily guzzling down.
You'd be surprised that most flavors work. There's been a couple where I was like, oh, this is not a good one.
Very refreshing. Sounds good.
People are very surprised when they try it. They're like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And then they will buy a bottle and then they come back and they refill the bottle. If we're using local produce, that feeling of that season comes out and customers get really excited about it. So they'll be really excited to see apple season come into play. Watermelon basil is a huge one, and they just wait till watermelon comes to the farmer's market and they get so excited. I think the seasons dictate some of that love and excitement for the flavors.
Coming up, get refreshed and renewed in the desert with good stuff from The Good House.
We really like to juice our stuff fresh to order. You're gonna see a really nice vivid color, of course.
You love your pet and would do pretty much anything for them. But sometimes pet healthcare costs can make your wallet growl. That's why we created My Pet Protection, pet insurance designed exclusively for employees like you. Get reimbursed for eligible veterinary expenses. Enjoy extra perks like Vet Helpline, Pet RX Express, and more. Use any vet anywhere. Signing up is easy. Just tell us about your pet and choose your level of reimbursement. My Pet Protection is available only through your employer. Get a no-obligation quote today.
The California Farm Bureau has protected the diverse agricultural interests in the Golden State for over a century. As part of the California Farm Bureau, you'll add your voice to the combined strength of over 34,000 farmers, ranchers, and families through our state. That means more connections, more influence, and more opportunity to fight for the issues that impact your life. With your support behind us, California Farm Bureau's robust government affairs, federal policy and farm PAC, and legal teams work tirelessly to advocate at all levels of government, protecting and promoting our shared way of life. Together, California Farm Bureau and our members are standing up for farmers, ranchers, and families throughout the Golden State every day, working to cultivate a bountiful future for all Californians.
Hey everyone, so we're at The Good House, where they are well known for their fresh juices and tonics, and Chef Van is here and he's gonna show me how it's done.
We're actually gonna be making one of our most popular fresh juices. It's our Beet Retreat. Everything on the table is actually locally sourced and locally grown. We also like to make our juice menu seasonal. So right now it is root vegetable season, and so we are going to be playing with some beets.
Okay, so talk about what is in this juice.
We have some Meyer lemons. We're also going to be doing some Pink Lady apples for a little bit of sweetness, a locally sourced pineapple, of course some seasonal beets, as well as turmeric, turmeric root, and ginger root. So all this is going to be juiced and brought to some immunity.
And you said immunity. Are there any other benefits we'll get in this juice?
Well, immunity is one of the biggest ones. I would say one of the #1 benefits is because everything's locally sourced, it really introduces you to the local pollen and the local environment. We always have about 15-mile-an-hour winds out here in Desert Hot Springs, so it's really nice to get yourself accustomed to it right away.
Fresh.
And fresh, exactly.
All right, well, show me how it's done.
We're gonna cut up about 3 of these.
Okay, 3 beets. What's the key to making a really good juice?
Staying in season. You know, the fruit is the star of the show, and if it's not its season, it's just not going to be at its best. So let's move on over to a lemon. We're just gonna cut those into thirds. We're just gonna get our turmeric root, get it nice and sliced up. You really don't have to do much to it.
I feel like with turmeric, some people either love it or they hate it.
It's so true. It goes straight to the face, yep.
But it has some great properties?
But it has some really great qualities, absolutely. I mean, one thing is that turmeric is known to be a really good anti-inflammatory, so is ginger, so they get put together a lot. And it's a really great way to stain your cutting boards as well, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Last but not least, we're just gonna deal with this pineapple right here.
Cutting pineapple can always be a challenge.
It can always be a challenge, and I always think that there's just an easy way to do stuff, you know? So whenever I cut a pineapple, I always cut off the top and bottom first, and I love a bread knife because, you know, we go with our kitchen knives to these fruit, and the fruit usually wins. So I really like something with teeth that's gonna get it nice and shredded up.
All right. That looks juicy.
Nice and juicy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably nice and sweet smelling. And then other than that, so I love to just cut them into quarters. And then you could just take that right out. Take out the core right there as well too. And you have yourself some cut pineapple.
Nice.
So we're just gonna cut these into strips right here. And we're gonna put those into the juicer.
Is there an order?
You know what? I would say that there isn't an order to juicing. I would say that my best advice is always to just kind of mix a little bit of everything in there. So, you know,
and you
don't
leave
have
the
to
pineapple
go.
skin on there.
I do, just because the specific juicer that I have, it takes the skin right off for
Oh,
you.
gotcha.
So,
I was like, wow.
you know, saves a little time. We haven't seen our color yet because we got to add some beets, of course. A little more of that ginger, turmeric, some nice sweet apples.
So you mean to tell me all that went in there?
Went in there, yeah. Pretty spectacular, yeah. So, you know, we really like to juice our stuff fresh to order. We're gonna make sure that it has nice ice cubes in it.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing is that we actually do all of our garnish in-house. We grow our own mint, we grow our own rosemary, we grow all of our own citrus.
So it's like literally from here on property?
Literally from our farm to the table, yeah. And right now we're actually in a farmscaping process. So our hope is in the next 5 years or so to actually be growing all of our own produce.
Very
So
cool. Ooh,
it's
that's
pretty
so pretty.
groovy, absolutely. So that's some of that mint.
Cheers.
So cheers to life.
That's some good stuff.
That's going to do it for this episode of Bountiful Beverages. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to also find us online at CaliforniaBountiful.com. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.